Good evening and welcome to the August 24th meeting of the Lowell License Commission. Secretary Wynn, was the meeting posted?
Yes.
Number one on the agenda, please.
Picking up with the minutes of our meeting from the August 10th, 2017.
Wish of the board.
Mr. Chairman, if I might just ask that
Commissioner Donahue?
one addition be made to the, thank you, and one addition be made to the minutes under the 74, Revolution 74, that I've spoken to the,
What page are you on, Joe?
that'll be on page 4, that we just add a sentence that both Ms. DeSalvo and Mr. Carrigan clearly understood that there would be a delineation between the age groups, and that was made at the request of all the members present.
Okay. Amendment by, motion to amend the minutes by Commissioner Donahue, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda.
Commissioner, now proceed with number 2 on the meeting agenda, applications for special one-day license to sell, dispense malt beverages and wines only, or either one, starting with Tabitha Garnett, of the catering manager of the Aramark, for the following events: the rowing alumni event at the Bellegarde Boathouse, 500 Pawtucket Boulevard, for Saturday, August 26, 2017, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. There is the PTB Open House at the Policino Tong Building, which is at 72 University Ave, for Tuesday, September 12th, from 4:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. The nursing faculty event at the Allen House at 2 Solomon Way for Tuesday, September 12th, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. The English Department Welcome Back reception, also at the Allen House, for Wednesday, September 13th, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Good evening. State your name for the record.
Tabitha Garnett.
How are you, Tabitha?
Good.
Things okay?
Summer is over,
Summer is over.
officially.
All right. Questions, comments on the board?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Howell. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Tabitha, good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, we have a number of characters from the Merrimack Repertory Theater. I'd like to read them all, if I may. Starting with Michael Glicksman of the Merrimack Repertory Theater for an event at the Nancy L. Donahue Theater, Liberty Hall, 50 East Merrimack Street. Theatrical performances by the Merrimack Repertory Theater. He has a series of dates, starting with September 13th and running through to October 8th, 2017. There are 20 dates in total. This will be during the concession sales and service for 1 hour prior to the performance and a 15-minute intermission. We also have Peter Crew of the Merrimack Repertory Theater. He has filed application for the theatrical performances by the Merrimack Repertory Theater, starting with October the 18th and running through inclusive of November 12th, 2017. That'll be 20 dates as well. We have Mariana R. Wood of the Merrimack Repertory Theater. She has application for the date starting with November the 29th and running through to include December 24th, 2017. Also 20 dates. There is Edgar Cyrus of the Merrimack Repertory Theater for the theatrical performance by the Merrimack Repertory Theater for starting with January 10th, 2018, including the dates through the month of January, then into February the 25th, 2018. That'll be a total of 30 dates. John Dyson of the Merrimack Repertory Theater has application for the event dates starting with March 1st, 2018, through the month of March, March 31st, also April the 1st, and into April the 15th, 2018, a total of 30 dates. And last we have Taryn Kimmel of the Merrimack Repertory Theater for the performances that will take place starting with April the 25th, 2018, into May to May 19th, and that'll be 20 dates as well.
Looks like you're lining up for tickets. Everybody just state your name for the record, please.
Michael Glicksman.
Hey, Mike.
Peter Crew.
Hi, Peter.
Mariana Wood.
Hi, Marianne.
Edgar Cyrus.
Edgar.
John Dyson.
Hey, John.
Taryn Kimmel.
Who has not held one of these licenses? All right. Do you
I
want to?
held one for a different event, though, if that helps.
Okay, but you've held one of these licenses before, right? Correct? Okay. Do you understand their responsibilities with these licenses? You do? Okay. Do we have any questions from the board? Move for approval by Commissioner Howe, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Always do a good job at the Merrimack Repertory Theater. Good job.
You too.
Commission now will proceed with the applications by Gabby Davis of Made in Lowell, starting with a beer and wine application for the Food Truck Madness. This will be the Lowell Food and Wine Festival for Friday, September 8th, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., and it will be held at the Kerouac Park in Bridge Street. Gabby has also filed applications for all alcoholic beverages for the event, the Lowell Food and Wine Festival. She's representing Made in Lowell. It's a nonprofit organization, starting with Thursday, September 7th, 2017, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. This will be at the site known as the Pawtucket Prism, which is the waterfront plaza between the Interconference Center as well as the Merrimack Middlesex Community College Cowan Building. Gabby has also filed for the Grand Tasting Lowell Food and Wine Festival for Saturday, September 9th, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. This event will be at the JFK Plaza, Arcan Drive. And last, she has one for Saturday, September 9th, from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. This will be known as Sips and Sweets. This will be at the Tuto Bean Wine and Cheese Cellars in the parking lot at 58 Prescott Street.
Good evening. State your name for the record.
Gabby Davis, Made in Lowell.
How are you, Gabby?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a while.
All right, so the Food Truck Madness, I know we've done this before, correct?
We've done all of these events before in
All
the
of them?
past. Yes. New locations for a few of them this year.
Okay. Captain Webb, any reservations in this board granting licenses for Ms. Davis?
No concerns, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Questions or comments from the board?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Gabby, good luck with the events.
Thank you.
You always do a good job.
Thank you.
Gabby has also filed applications for a special events permit for amplified outdoor public entertainment. So Gabby Davis of Made in Lowell for the sound system, live music for the following events and dates. The opening reception for the Lowell Food and Wine Festival for Thursday, September 7th, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Pawtucket Prism Waterfront Plaza. Food Truck Madness for the Lowell Food and Wine Festival for Friday, September 8th, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Kerouac Park. The Grand Tasting for Saturday, September 9th, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the JFK Plaza. And also the Sips and Sweets for Saturday, September 9th, from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the parking lot at 58 Prescott Street. We also have Ronald B. Carignan, Jr. of the Never Forget Entertainment for a sound system, live bands, concert for Saturday, September 9th, 2017, from 12 noon to 10 p.m. at the Hadley Skate Park, Middlesex Street.
Both of you state your name for the record, please.
Gabby Davis, Made in Lowell.
Ronald Kerrigan,
How you doing, Ronald? Ronald, you held this event last year, correct?
Yes.
All right, Captain Webb, any reservations about this license?
The only thing I could note about last year on the, September 11th, the same event at Hadley Park, there were two calls. One was a fight call and another call for loud music
Okay.
during the event. I don't think either one of the calls was a major incident.
Okay. Ronald, how many people do we are going to be at this event, do you feel?
With the bands and the people showing up,
Yeah.
roughly 100, if we're lucky.
Roughly 100?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Questions, comments from the board?
Second.
Move approval by Commissioner Donahue, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck with your events.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Moving to the next item on our meeting agenda, we have the application by the entity known as Drumhill Autos, Inc., John P. Fotopoulos, President, for used car dealer license Class 2 for the premises at 1184 Westwood Street. This was an open lot of 27,409 square feet. with office in a building on site. Presently, we have the licensee, the Highline Group, Inc., Charles P. Fotopoulos, president, holding that Class II license. This is subject to the condition of maximum number of display spaces being 85, and this was condition of the Zoning Board of Appeals on August 27, 2012.
Good evening. State your name for the record.
John Fotopoulos.
How you doing tonight, John?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Tell us what's going on over at Drum Hill Autos.
Well, I ran next door for quite a long time, and health reasons, I downsized, and that's basically it.
Now, the Highline Group Incorporated was yours as well?
And my sibling, correct.
Okay, I understand. So now you're just looking to,
Doing the same thing,
Same
but
thing.
just downsizing.
I get it. All right, okay. Questions and comments from the board? Move for approval by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. John, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Proceeding with the next item on our meeting agenda, members of the commission, we have a hearing on the allegation of misconduct as charged by William M. Taylor, the superintendent of police, to the License Commission, which is dated August 8, 2017, regarding the licensee, The Last Safe, Inc., Timothy Regan, manager. This is an all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 160 Merrimack Street, and this is the incident of July 15, 2017.
Oh, we'll wait for your counsel.
I apologize.
State your name for the record, counsel.
Apologize for the late arrival. John Harnigan, I represent the, your license holder, Last Safe, Inc. With me this evening is Timothy Regan, who is the manager of record and also was one of the two bartenders there that evening. Also, I thought would be helpful in the conversation is David Carr. Now, David Carr was the doorman and probably the longest employee of the Last Safe, Inc. I
Okay.
think those are all the pertinent individuals.
Mr. Hardigan, would you like the complaint read into the record, or would you like to waive it?
We can waive that.
Thank you very much. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me begin by saying that there is no dispute by the establishment that the minors were in the premises. I assume the detective's testimony would be consistent with what they report details. I can also suggest that the anticipated testimony from Mr. Regan and Mr. Carr would be that they observed these four individuals being escorted from the establishment. Now, I would distinguish that, though, from acknowledging the validity of the four, or the three, I guess, asserted violations. And if I could just direct my attention initially to one of those violations, and that's specifically B. A is pretty straightforward. It's the standard failure of service or providing alcohol to a minor. And again, the emphasis there is on the establishment creating the violation. C is also directed towards the establishment creating the violation. That's the allowance or permitting a disturbance. B, though, is a new one to me. B, I've got a copy of the statute, but that's just a minor in possession is what it is. There is three requirements, and it's almost a strict liability criminal offense, and that is if there's a minor who is either possessed or consumed, it's a crime. It's an arrestable offense, and in fact, the statute says that it is arrestable even without a warrant. And if this individual is convicted, the court then becomes a mandated reporter. They've got to notify the RMV, and there's a 90-day minimum loss of license. So to suggest, I mean, I don't know what the right term is, ironic, frustrating, but to prosecute the establishment for a crime of a minor, I mean, I think at best is either one, a tortured interpretation of the statute, or an attempt to reduce what we know is the requirement if a establishment is found to be in violation of 13834, which is the delivery. Because possession just is not sufficient, it's impermissible to make a finding against an establishment that's a violation. So I would suggest requests that at least count B be dismissed, because there's no legal nexus between, I mean, there's no joint venture, there's no conspiracy theory, there's nothing. It's a minor if they violated. Are the police going to prosecute or not? I mean, that's the only issue. So, I mean, assuming, addressing the two, the violation A, which is the delivery, and violation C, which is the permitting in illegality, I would, just refer to the report of Detective Lowell. I mean, we've all read these reports. We all know what training the officers get at the academy. We all know that the police department is very aggressive and vigorous of continued training. And the standard is they're required to contain and include all pertinent allegations relevant to the proceedings. I would suggest in this instance that mandate serves as a dual purpose, because the report, which was the only report we received, was the two-page report from the detective, provides notice to the license holder as to specifically what the charges are. Because I know of no administrative or judicial proceeding that a defendant, or in this instance, a license holder, would be asked to respond to something when there aren't all the facts are included in the report, or at least give a supplemental report. So for the record, I've received the one report from Detective Lally, and I think it can be fairly summarized to say the following, that on the evening of July 15th, approximately 12:45 a.m., two detectives, one sergeant detective entered the premises, noticed three women described as young-looking females. They approached the women. They had asked for identification. And according to the report, the women said, "I don't have anything." They then were escorted from the premises, which I would suggest is standard protocol. And one of the women, O'Connell, says, all four of us got in on one ID. Now, Mr. Carr will testify as to what the procedure is. It's pretty straightforward, but, and then Burns says, no, that didn't happen. All four of us didn't get in. Nobody asked me for an ID, I walked in. Now, this ID that they presented is somehow gone. I don't know if the commission is familiar with the establishment, but it's a small place. It's a rectangle. You walk in, there's a bar, there's a basically mingling area is what it turns out to be as a rest. But somehow this ID that either all of them used or some of them used from the period of time when they entered the premises to the time that they were confronted by the police and escorted out was gone. I think what appeared to me is that there was no reference of any observation of sale, which as we know is a requirement, or delivery. There was no reference or statements from the individuals that I went up to the bar and I bought it. In fact, there was no reference as to any query made by any of the detectives as to where did you get the alcohol, which apparently they observed at either in their hand or at the table. I don't know where it was, but they said they observed them with the alcohol. So, I mean, I don't want to belabor the standard, but as we all know, it's got to be, possession isn't sufficient. It has to be evidence of delivery, credible evidence of delivery. Moving on to the IDs. I mean, I read the report and I'm thinking to myself, how does this make sense? What Mr. Carr is going to tell you is the last safe, it has probably a 3.5 foot, door wide. And it's a single file, individual approaches. The first assessment is level of intoxication. Assuming they pass that test, come forward, you present the ID. If it's not a state ID, the procedure is to ask for a second form of identification. Assuming that passes, they then are allowed access. Now, who was it? One of the women, O'Connell, I think, said all three of us came in on one ID. Well, all four came in on one ID. Burns kind of backs off of that a little bit. But I'm thinking to myself, how does that work? A couple of scenarios come to mind. First is the first person that enters, they turn around and pass the ID back to the second person in line right in front of the doorman. Clearly, that doesn't make any sense. Nobody's going to do that. Second one is equally silly to me, but it's a little bit more complicated. First person comes in, they enlist the services of a either related or unrelated party. They take the license, this one fake license outside. They then somehow pass it to the individual and you go through this. Now, if you've got 4 individuals that are in there, you've got to get 4 people to get it out, so now you've got 8 people involved in this scheme or process. Third is that, in fact, these young women came in all with a fake ID. And that's the only thing that makes any sense to me. It's troubling to me that this ID vanishes. It's troubling to the establishment that there was nothing in the report that requests a consensual search of these individuals. Parenthetically, had they been arrested, I'm sure the commission knows that there would have been an inventory of personal property. So what happened to this ID, whether the establishment would be entitled to the statutory defense if it was a mass ID or a mass identification liquor, I mean, we lose all of that. But I mean, those are basically the factual differences that I'd like to highlight for the board and the commission. I mean, if there's any questions for either Mr. Regan or Mr. Carr, but I think their testimony would be consistent with what I just told the board.
Thank you, Attorney Hartigan. Before we ask questions of the officers as well, Attorney Veloso, do you have any rebuttal to Councilor Hartigan's assertion of item B?
Well, I would disagree with his assertion. I would note that the request for enforcement action indicates that there were 2 grounds in which it was done. Now, the notice has broken it up into 3, but I'd note that B and C are taken into account together. Now, allowing a person of less than 21 years of age to be in possession of an alcoholic beverage is a violation of MGL Chapter 138, Section 34C. That's not in dispute. I would submit, too, that note subsection C, ABCC Regulation 204 CMR 2.05. No license or establishment shall permit any disorder, disturbance, or illegality of any kind. That violation of allowing people underage to possess alcohol is an illegality. Allowing that illegality to occur on premises is a violation of ABCC regulations. Therefore, that violation of Chapter 138, Section 34C is actionable by this License Commission, because any possession by an underage person of alcohol is illegal, and therefore any establishment that permits that illegality to occur is in violation of ABCC regulations. So therefore, I would submit that, contrary to Attorney Hartigan's submission, subsection B can be considered by this commission.
Mr. Chairman, if I could...
Sure, go right ahead, Mr. Hartigan.
That's just wrong. I mean, to follow that conclusion would gut the Supreme Court's holding in the Tiki Hut, and the name escapes me, but in fact, this License Commission dealt with that very issue when, probably back in the late 90s, you know, this commission made a very specific finding that they believed that there was alcohol in the possession of a minor, which there was, and this board found that that was the basis for a violation. It went before the ABCC and then in fact was appealed to the SJC. And again, and this is consistently since the late 1990s, that you, under 13834, you can't just find a violation based upon possession. So if now what we're going to do is bootstrap this minor in possession, now the 13834 is very specific. It says an establishment may not. 134C, and I've got a copy of it right here, talks specifically about the minor. It says a minor can't possess. So what we're trying to do is take one provision of a statute, which, you know, which reverses 20 years of consistent case law by the Supreme Judicial Court and consistent holdings in the ABCC. I mean, I think it's ingenious, but it's just wrong. I mean, if they want to change the legislature, if this commission wants to make a rule that supports it, that's a different argument. But I mean, respectfully, what your assistant city solicitor is telling you, I believe to be wrong.
Attorney Veloso, I'll give you the last word on that.
Again, I would submit that by extension of C, B comes into play.
All right, thank you. Mr. Regan, you're the manager and you were the bartender that night, right?
Correct.
How many people were in the bar at that time?
Anyway,
Or Sergeant Noon and Officer Lally came in?
anywhere between 70 and 80 people that night. We have a capacity of 99 and it was crowded, so I
Okay.
would say anywhere between about 80 people.
Had you ever seen these girls before in your bar?
No.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Carr? Yes. Just state your name for the record, sir, I'm sorry.
David Carr?
All right, so you're at the door,
Yes, sir.
and I'm just kind of going with Mr. Hardigan's assertion of what actually happened with the IDs, and I'll bring up the Lowell Police after, but tell me in your own words what happened.
Step one, anytime someone approaches the bar to determine whether I believe they're intoxicated or not. Step two would be to...
Were they carded before, or everybody just came into the bar?
No, I work at the door, so no one can even go downstairs before passing through me.
Okay, so these
So
three
step
girls...
one is me identifying whether I'll even look at an ID.
Okay.
Identifying if they're intoxicated or not.
Yeah.
Second step is presentation of an ID. If it's an out-of-state ID, we ask for backup. And, you know, in this instance, there's nobody who gets by the door. And let's say I had to use the restroom and went downstairs. There's always a second doorman positioned at the bottom of the stairs in that doorway, and they come upstairs when I go downstairs. So there's no instance of the door being vacant at any period of time.
All right, so tell me what happened.
I haven't the slightest idea how, I believe honestly that they had fake identification and didn't provide it to the officers when asked.
All right, you believe each of them had their own ID? Fake ID?
I'm 35 years old, I've been IDing for 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good about being able to catch a fake or catch a duplicate.
Yeah.
And I just think it's completely unrealistic to say that 4 girls used a single ID to get into the building and then that one ID disappeared.
All right. Members of the commission, any questions for Mr. Regan or Mr. Carr while they're up there? Nope. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Officer Lally, Sergeant New. Gentlemen, if you could just state your name for the record, please.
Dave Lally, Lowell Police.
Officer Lally.
Jonathan Noon, Sergeant, Lowell Police Department.
Okay, getting a little gray area concerning these IDs. Can you enlighten me?
We approached the females in the downstairs. They stated that they didn't have any IDs on them. We brought them upstairs, outside, and we spoke with them. They were advised that they all used one ID and they passed it back. They had someone come out of the bar, and they explained that they entered the bar at different times, so the doorman would not know it was the same person.
Okay, so one girl comes to the door, gets the fake ID, stays there for a few minutes in the bar, and some way passes an ID to the entrance again?
Yes.
Without the doorman knowing?
Correct.
And this happened 3 times?
Same ID.
Okay. Sergeant Noon?
I have nothing further to add to this. I have nothing further to add to his
Nothing,
testimony.
thank you, sir. All right, questions, comments from the board?
I have a question now
Sergeant.
for the last safe and deposit. I believe it's Mr. Regan? I'm sorry. You allow people to go outside to smoke?
Yes, sir.
Is there a smoking area? Where is that?
It's typically directly outside the door, all within view of the
The
door.
front door?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then they go back in?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Donahue? Mr. Carr, do they go through the same identification procedure again?
I can't tell you that they always do if it's someone that I recognize them. Again, I've been doing this a very long time. I know, you know, it's not like it's a smaller bar. We don't have 25 people outside, we have 3.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's pretty easily identifiable who walked out the door, who's having a cigarette, who comes back in. And typically those people who smoke do it consistently. So again, it's not an issue of someone who only comes out once over a 6-hour period. It's someone who tends to come out every 45 minutes.
I believe,
You had said that, Mr. Carr, you had said that there might be a time that you would vacant the door, but somebody else would be at the bottom of the stairs?
So when you walk into the last safe and deposit company, you have to go down one set of stairs.
Right,
There's
yeah.
a doorman positioned at the bottom of the door that can see the full length of the bar.
Okay,
And so if I go down the stairs, he comes up the stairs. So there's no opportunity for someone to pass by one of us. It's a very narrow stairwell. There's no chance of someone getting by me, first of all. And then again, someone coming up to the top of the stairs does the exact same thing that I do.
all right. Officer Lally, the 3 ladies, they were 18, 19, would you card them?
Yes.
Absolutely, without a
Yes.
doubt.
Yes.
None of them looked 21 to you?
That's why we approached them.
Okay, I appreciate that. Commissioner Donahue?
One more question of Inspector Lally. I believe your report indicates that each of them, the young females, were drinking alcohol. You observed drinks in front of each of the four
Yes,
ladies?
prior to me approaching them, I watched as they were drinking alcohol.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Howe?
For Officer Lally, you heard Attorney Hardigan state that there was no credible evidence of delivery of alcohol in your report, and I note in the report it says Burns admitted to drinking a vodka drink, and the other 3 girls advised that they were drinking Bud Lights. Can you tell me about that conversation you had with them?
After they explained the system of how they got in, I then asked them, just confirming what my observations were, and they stated they were drinking Bud Lights, and there was a female had a plastic cup that she was drinking some sort of mixed drink out of.
And they said they got it at the lab, they got it at that establishment?
They said they were drinking it. I didn't question about where they got it from. It was consistent with the other drinks that were being served in the bar.
Thank you.
Mr. Regan? Do you remember serving any of these 3 individuals?
When the girls were being escorted out, I had looked at my second bartender, and both of us had said, "Hey, did you serve those girls?" And both of us were like, "No, we didn't serve those girls."
Do you have any idea how they get those drinks in front of them?
I mean, you're legally allowed to serve someone 2 drinks at a time. So if one of their guy friends comes up, gets 2 Bud Lights, turns around to a crowd of 80 people in a small bar, that's something that maybe I couldn't see from a distance, that he's turning around and giving to them. And if they're already in the establishment, they've gone through the process. I'm not assuming that they're underage if
Understood.
they're in the back of the bar. So,
Attorney Peloso?
Sorry, Officer Lally? When you observed the drinks in the girls' hands, what did you observe? What kind of cups were they?
Well, there was, they were drinking bottles of beer, or it may have been cans of beer. And then they had, the mixed drink was in a plastic cup.
Was that plastic cup consistent with other drinks that were served in the establishment? Same cup?
Yes.
Do we have any, Captain Webb, do any attempt to subpoena the young ladies here?
No, I don't think there was.
Okay. Any further comments from the board? Okay, Secretary Wynn, last safe and deposit, I don't remember these gentlemen being in front of this board in recent time.
I can address that, I think, Mr. Chairman. When I was first retained, I spoke with Mr. Wynn. He told me that this local commission had approved the application in June of 2013.
Yep.
The ABCC acquiesced to the approval in September, and they opened shortly thereafter, so mid-September, first part of October 2013. They have not been in front of this commission for any disciplinary proceedings at all.
Okay.
Nothing placed on file or anything. They have had some internal change of managers, but those were properly noticed. In my conversations with Mr. Regan, he related to me the history that they've been open approximately, on average, they're open 6 nights a week. So that's, the last 4 years, that's 1,200 nights.
Sure.
I think it's also important to note that, I mean, on this evening, the asserted violations included nothing else. There was no overservice, no intoxication, no disruptions, no failure to properly post the license or signage or anything like that. I mean, as far as I know, they've been good community and corporate citizens, I mean,
Okay.
to this point in time.
Like I said, gentlemen have not been in front of this board since I've been here, and obviously, if you're telling me no violations in 4 years, that speaks volumes. I understand that. But we are talking about a serious violation here, 3 young ladies, 18 years old. I would make a motion that, first off, I would say that violations A and C that are in violation, I would ask the board to dismiss B and make a motion that the license be suspended for 3 days with all 3 days held in abeyance for 1 year.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying, oh, Commissioner Howe, please,
I'd just like to comment on the motion.
please.
So I know Chapter 138 under Section A has pretty stiff penalties. It's fined up to $2,000 and imprisonment for up to a year. And it's a very serious violation, but the fact that the girls are not here to testify, I don't find their comments in the report credible. I don't understand exactly how they would pass out, get in on the same ID. So I do feel that, I don't know about the procedures of the checking of the IDs, but I don't find their comments credible at all, so I am going to support this motion.
Roll call.
Chairman Dakota,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Yes.
Commissioner Howe,
Yes.
Commissioner Donahue.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Members of the commission, I have the executive secretary's report, just for the record. A license that was granted by the commission on August 10th, 2017. Representative of the applicant licensee, Patricia Donahue, came to the License Commission office on August 17th, 2017, stating the event for the license was canceled, and this would be the special one-day license for malt beverages, wine only. License number is 129SP 2017. It was granted and to be issued to Norman Karen of Gallery Z at 167 Market Street. The concert with Eddie Dyer for Saturday, August 19, 2017. That event had been canceled. The license was not issued. Second is events that Gabby Davis, representing Made in Lowell, had been granted June 1st, 2017. There were special one-day licenses for malt beverages, wine only, either one, and two licenses, 109 SP 2017, 110 SP 2017. Because of the weather forecast that morning of Friday, June 16th, Gabby had emailed me to note that the event summer kickoff to be held at the Ecumenical Plaza for the two dates, all of the vendors who were participating in this summer kickoff had agreed not to partake of the event because of the weather. So I had issued those licenses to her on June the 5th. She paid the license fees of $75 each. And I just respectfully request the commission to authorize the credit and to be used in the application to the licenses that will be issued for the upcoming events for the Lowell Food Festival.
Motion by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Donahue to extend that fee to that appropriate date. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion good. All set. And do I have a motion to adjourn? By Commissioner Donahue, seconded by Commissioner Howe. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Everyone have a good evening.
How much ice getting you, Brian?